All right, guys, we got Davis and Pat in the building. Let's do this thing. All right, Davis and Pat had you guys on before the combine. Figured it would be timely to see how things changed, who does not weigh NFL weight, who does not run NFL times, debrief those, talk through some free agency. If there's time, we'll do a draft. But first and foremost, how you guys doing?
Doing good.
Great, man.
Seems like Ronald Jones is about to be a Dallas Cowboy, so it's a good day.
Oh,
Is this sort of a Pyrrhic victory though, Kerrane? I mean,
No.
like on one hand, Ronald Jones couldn't beat out any Kansas City Chief running back last year. On the other hand, it would be very Mike McCarthy to be like, you know what? We got this one guy who can do everything and might be the best running back in football. On the other hand, Rojo is big. So maybe they'll just play him a lot.
Davis, you should understand this better than anyone. I'm not going to question how I get there. If Rojo has a good season, I'm going to victory lap it.
The key to winning Best Ball Mania 4 is simply taking Rojo in every draft.
I mean, I think contractually wise, we were directionally accurate because I think we're all excited for Rashad Penny, who was making the same amount as Rojo, basically, right?
Actually, slightly less incentives even in Rashad Penny's deal.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me share my screen here. Before the combine, we had you guys give us your top 5. And I don't think I either told you guys we were doing this top 5. So it was really a top 5 as you felt that day. How about quarterback? Are we feeling different at all? On the left here is Davis's.
Yeah, Richardson is just one now. That's
how I feel, right?
He's just the top guy.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I mean, there's maybe like some chance that he falls to a spot but I think his most likely outcome now is going to the Colts, and then it looks like he's going to start very quickly.
Yeah.
So
here's the thing. All the comps I hear on CJ Stroud are in the category of like Kirk Cousins. I have not heard anyone bang the table for CJ Stroud saying this guy's a franchise changer. This guy's
Didn't
Patrick
Josh
Mahomes.
McCown say that he was Joe Burrow-esque?
Yeah, I don't know.
He did a thing with he used to do videos with the underdog guys. I don't know if he's still doing that now that he's working.
He's a coach now
again.
Yeah, he's the quarterback's coach for Carolina. He definitely.
I don't think he's jumping out of team meetings to jump on stream.
He's not going off with Josh Norris to do that.
So there definitely was some pro Stroud stuff from Josh McCown, but I don't think you're letting your quarterback's coach dictate, what you're doing with this multi-billion-dollar organization. To be honest.
I don't believe that the Panthers traded up and they don't know who they're taking. I hear that all the time where they're like, "Oh, they just know they're going to take a quarterback. They're not sure yet." They traded up for a guy.
I believe that. I 100% believe that they wanted the option to take whoever. If they fell in love with a guy, they wanted the option. But I believe it's very similar to the 49ers trading for 3, where the 49ers traded the 3 to get Mac Jones, and then Kyle Shanahan got bullied into taking Trey Lance, which actually we could see happening again, where CJ Stroud is the prudent choice, and they get bullied into taking the imprudent choice in Anthony Richardson.
Isn't Bryce Young the prudent choice? I know he's small, but just because he's so small?
Because
is that Baker Mayfield all over again?
Bryce Young had 6 weeks to put on as much weight as he could do for the NFL Combine, and he got to 201 pounds, which I guess, to credit to him, he put the work in.
Yeah.
He probably gained 12, 13 pounds or something like that. But that means his playing weight is like Hollywood Brown as a quarterback. That is small. That is very small.
What did Drew Brees weigh?
Hollywood Brown was 166 pounds. So it's not.
I don't need you to fact check me. If I wanted fact checking, I would fact check myself.
You by now, David.
166. He was not playing at that. I mean, isn't there some chance that
Kyler Murray 207, Russell Wilson 206? So like this is kind of like the Jahmyr Gibbs thing to me, where people are like,
Jahmyr Gibbs is too small.
199.
No, he's too small, dude.
But if he was 201, people would be like, no worries.
Yes.
Look, Bryce Young is 21 years old, so I do think if weight is your concern, like he's gonna fill out. Like, look, none of us weigh what we weighed at 21. That's just the way life goes. Okay. So
okay. Fair.
I wouldn't be worried about him putting on weight. I think the height, if you think he's too short, obviously he's unlikely.
It's just size and tools really that I'm worried about.
So okay, as of today, who are the Panthers taking? Who are the Texans taking? Who are the Colts taking? And do we think the Raiders is getting the fourth best quarterback, or is like Levi's a pass?
No, I think Levis is the reporting from Dane Brugler and some other people on Mox is that he's gonna like fall. Like it's gonna be like Pickett last year, where if a team wants him in the 20s, they can go get him.
And Hendon Hooker, I'm hearing is like the 5 now in the class, which you guys didn't feel before, but maybe that's changed. I don't know.
Sorry, what?
Hendon Hooker is now like the 5th quarterback in the class. Like there's a clear 5. Like you can actually draft this guy in the 20th round, maybe.
He's coming off a torn ACL. I don't think I'd be drafting him in best ball.
Okay, he's not. He's a draft a stash for an NFL team.
Yeah.
I saw your classic attention-seeking quarterback rankings come out yesterday, where someone had Hendon Hooker as their 3rd quarterback in the class, which is just these people, man. I think it was I think it was Kerrane's old coworker, actually, Chris Sims, I believe was the person who did.
Sims has never had trouble getting weird with his rankings.
Yeah,
you got to give him credit.
So, but it's just like I talked about this the other day with Kevin Cole. It's like, what are these NFL draft people trying to do? Are they just trying to get takes off, or do they actually want to predict NFL success? Because Hendon Hooker is probably a dog. I mean, he's probably a dog to ever start a week 1 game, I would imagine. I don't think any team in his career will ever have him start a week.
He's like the Vikings backup, whoever that guy is.
No, that guy was really bad. Kellen Mond. He was bad. He's better. He's better than that. Yeah. Hendon Hooker is gonna be 26 by the time he's recovered from this ACL injury, though.
Oh, geez, that's like Bryce Wheaton.
He's like Joe Burrow's age already.
So who? Okay, Davis. Who are the Panthers taking?
They're taking Anthony Richardson, dude. You don't.
That's exciting.
I think my take would be that if you're making a move, well, and maybe my read on how people are viewing Stroud is wrong, but the read that I get is Stroud is viewed as like a hyper competent game manager, right? Like maybe even like peak Romo, where he's like the 8th best quarterback in the NFL at any given time. But if you can squint and see Anthony Richardson being Jalen Hurts, right? With Super Bowl quality quarterback. Now maybe the NFL doesn't buy that, and maybe that's more fantasy nerd type shit. But that's the read I get.
Josh Allen comps too.
I think they're going Stroud. The betting markets think they're going Stroud, and I think if you just think about this from the incentives and the motivations of the people making the decisions, Frank Reich's on his 2nd job. This could be his last chance.
True.
You've got a Panthers organization that has been desperate for just competent quarterback play. I mean, Tony Romo for this Panthers team seems like an incredible outcome.
But think about who the owner is, a venture capitalist who has made all his money just making insane tail bets,
That's true.
That's where it gets interesting. Is David Tepper is basically this basically he's just a gambler, like that's all business is just really gambling.
Quarterbacks,
I think Frank Reich's a good coach too. He just got unlucky with quarterbacks.
I do too.
Yeah, I think Frank Reich's a good coach. Yeah. But famously, Tepper hired Matt Rule because they both were were bus boys or line cooks or something. So we need to find out if any of these quarterbacks have restaurant experience.
Oh, yeah. What was Anthony Richardson's high school job? That's a good question.
So, someone Google that for us while we move on. How about both of you? How many quarterbacks go in the top 10 picks?
3.
3. Okay, we're at 3. We're not on the Levi's. Like I was kind of drafting like Levis, Levi's, whoever is going to end up a Raider, and Jimmy G is just like he's not starting.
No, I think the Buccaneers are the team that takes Levis now.
Okay.
I think it's still possible he goes to the Raiders. I've drafted like that occasionally, but I've actually pivoted my draft strategy a little bit to try to not need those late quarterbacks anymore now that Richardson is jumped up so much in price. And Levis
Kerrane doesn't believe in Baker Mayfield. Kerrane doesn't believe in Baker Mayfield.
I don't.
I do not. I want it on the record that I do not believe in Baker Mayfield.
Well, Richardson also, like, Kyler Murray goes ahead of him in drafts, but I'd rather have Richardson with the. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know if Kyler Murray's playing next season. Like, if the Cardinals are 2-7, are they going to roll out Kyler just cause?
Yeah, and I actually think where Richardson's going is like fine. It's just not the massive value it used to be, but like I think if he goes to the Colts, he's starting a lot of games, and those games are the end of the year.
Colts
the games he's not starting the very beginning.
Noted.
Colts is like
the Gardner Minshew believer.
No, I'm not for real. But Colts is like the nutted spot for him because they're just gonna run the ball a ton, and that's good. That's like good for him, like fancy Malik Willis vibes.
It'll be like Malik Willis, but they believe in what they're doing.
Right?
It'll be like Lamar Jackson in his rookie year when he wasn't really like an elite fantasy quarterback, but who's already, they weren't like a disaster with him under center.
Yeah, he got a lot of floor out of that rookie year. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on to running back. You guys differed on the running backs. Both of you, of course, have Bijan as your one. Pat gave us a lot of notes, so we can't even get his 5 on the screen. But his 5 pre-combine was Tajay Spears. So did anyone on your guys' top 5s, Davis, for the non-existent audio listeners of mine, I don't even have an Apple Pod, was Bijan, Gibbs, Zach Evans, Charbonnet, Devin Achane, and Pat's was Bijan, Gibbs, Charbonnet, Bigsby, and Tajay Spears. Do we feel that, and a ton of guys have not, a ton of running backs did not do anything at the combine, and a ton still have not done their pro day. And who's the guy who uploaded his like footage to Twitter? And I don't know if those numbers are believable.
I didn't see this. Who did that?
I was going to say that sounds like a small school guy. That sounds like a Deuce McBride type thing or something.
Evans. I think.
Well, maybe Zach Evans. Maybe he didn't do anything at the combine. His numbers on Player Profiler are like fine. I still like Zach Evans quite a bit, but I actually have reworked this after talking to JJ last week. I'm out on Achane. Can't do it. He's 189 pounds. Just guys like that don't really get continued chances at running back, basically. Like it's just hard to see an NFL coach being like, all right, this is a guy we're going to give 18 touches a game to. And I'm also lower on Gibbs than the market.
I think Gibbs is somewhat the weight concern on Gibbs. I would maybe caution people against going too far in that direction because he profiles as an elite pass catcher, yards per hour run off the charts. And then the film evaluation on him, like, because, Travis Etienne had pretty strong receiving efficiency, but people were like, I don't know, about his,
and they never throw him the ball. They never throw him the ball.
But Gibbs, you don't see that with Gibbs. People are like, no, he's smooth as a receiver. Like he has what you're looking for out of the backfield in terms of the receiving chop. And he was much more efficient actually than Etienne even. So I think, he's like a little undersized, but when a guy's a little undersized, you want him to be an incredible receiver. And we have it. Can
I tell you my concern with Jahmyr Gibbs?
Yes.
Is that he profiles similarly to guys I've loved in fantasy before. CJ Spiller being the most obvious one. Like
CJ Spiller smashed one year.
That's the thing though. It took him 4 years to get to a spot where a coach is willing to trust him. And then what happened?
Well, he also dealt with Marshawn Lynch and Fred Jackson, right?
Oh my God! Jesus Christ! I should not have brought up a Buffalo Bill as that's listeners of the program. That's on me for bringing up mid 2000s Buffalo Bills around Chesley.
Yeah, you blew that one, man. We're gonna be here for another 20 minutes.
But the issue with Spiller was he got the workload and then literally immediately declined in efficiency, injury. He was out of the league. He was useless. So that is which is not to say that will happen to Jahmyr Gibbs, but my concern is on both ends of the tail. The first part of the tail is that he doesn't get enough work early on. So you take him with the 104, and then he has a James Cook rookie year, and you can't trade him for shit if you need to. He immediately becomes worth nothing, and that you have to wait to get fantasy points from him. And then by the time he scores the points, he's a 26-year-old running back, and you're like, I can't do anything with you either now.
Well, the difference between Gibbs and Cook is Gibbs actually caught passes in college. Like James Cook never really caught passes anywhere. Like we feel like he could catch passes, but he didn't really do it in college that much. He didn't do it in the NFL that much. And disappointingly, like they targeted Devin Singletary, who's like not a pass catcher at all.
I think it's a fair comp in terms of like archetype and like concerns in terms of the range of outcome, but I do have Gibbs as a much stronger prospect than James Cook.
Well, but the thing about Gibbs too, to me in best ball where he is right now is like, if you don't take Gibbs and you want a running back, you're choosing between the running backs of old, as I've been calling them. Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones.
But I think all those guys are much more likely to get 300-point seasons or 280-point seasons than Gibbs is this year. Like actually, like almost like and I'm not saying it's going to be Cook for sure. I'm not saying it's going to be Aaron Jones, like the old guys. But I'm saying in the aggregate,
low floors, right?
But in the aggregate, I really like one top 8 half-point PPR season to come from those guys. Like,
yeah,
really
my feeling on Gibbs is that like he's not a smash where he's going in best ball. Like he's fine. I don't mind him. You'll sometimes see him fall to the 6th. I had more exposure early on. I've actually started to feel a little bit more like, man, maybe the early career stuff isn't going to be quite as much as we want. In Dynasty, I think he's a pretty strong pick. I think he's probably going to flash enough that we're excited.
Do you prefer him to JSN, Addison, and Johnston?
I think I'm probably going to have it. And I probably, let me see what I actually
I think I prefer him over not JSN, but I think
not JSN, but over.
I've got him, which is where I have him. I've got him 6, yeah. So I've got him behind the 3 quarterbacks, Bijan and JSN.
Where is a landing spot you would be excited?
Yeah, that's what I have.
I think like the Vikings without Dalvin Cook, I'd be excited.
Oh man.
But like where else is a spot where we're like, yes, the Gibbs show.
Well, Kerrane, weren't you just telling me like Dalvin Cook is gonna be on the Vikings though because of like some injury thing?
It probably is, but just pretend like if
I thought you guys told me that, or was it
someone? We were on a show. Oh, it was Sam. Sam was telling us.
Okay, Sam had it.
I was listening to that. No, it was Hayden. It was
Hayden. Hayden informed us that basically Dalvin Cook like giga-brained the Vikings to get guaranteed money out of them, which was like, yeah, I'm good on that. So I guess, I mean, the team that everyone keeps, and people are doing this for Bijan too, is Arizona needs a running back. You know, they cut their only young running back with a semblance of talent, and Benjamin midseason last year. James Conner's 29. And just like, I mean, he's James Conner. Like he's got absolutely nothing left in the tank. So that's like the number one spot people want a rookie running back to go to, I think.
I mean, the Chargers would be incredible. And I'll wait a year.
With Eckler out of town, yeah.
They're taking. I think they're going to take Charbonnet. That feels really likely to me.
Are you guys?
It'd be smarter for them to take Gibbs.
Is number 3 now? Davis, have you changed? Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. He's 3. And then I think there's
3, yeah.
I think there's like there's a huge tier break after that. Like there's like 10 guys I would consider putting 4th almost.
Yeah, I don't even know who my 4th is. Like I came away like a little bit less into A-Chain.
What about Sean Tucker's Twitter post where he apparently runs a 4.29 or what? I mean, I
medically red flagged at the combine and then was asked to return. I don't think I'd be touching Sean Tucker right now.
No, and I watched this 40, and just this is not like you're not capturing the full 40. This does not look like 4-3-3 at all. That looks like 4-5 or something.
It doesn't look. He doesn't look very fluid to me.
No.
Yeah, I don't think draft position is just so massive here, and this is a class where there's a bunch of guys who are really not separating from each other, and so an NFL team is basically going to have to say, I don't know what they're going to use to make this decision, but it's probably not like all that clear for these teams who they should take. But once they do take that guy and give that guy an opportunity, he's going to have a massive advantage over the guys.
Some good team. I just know one thing I know is a good team is going to take Roschon Johnson. We talked about this on Friday. A good team is going to take Roschon Johnson, and he's going to play so much as a rookie.
He should probably be 4, just based on like the floor being pretty high. Although I have seen draft position for him that's not that high, which concerns me.
That's because he doesn't look very special on like go watch his Just Bomb stuff, and you're going to be like, he just looks like your average run-of-the-mill running back.
But he's a guy that the formula guys are always going to miss. Like when you play with Saquon type talent, you're not going to pop. But
that's that way. Yeah,
that's actually interesting though, because I think if you read deeper into it, and I've said this a bunch of times, so people are probably sick of me saying it, but imagine being so good at pass blocking and pass receiving that you get Bijan Robinson off the field for a college team that's trying to win games on third downs. Like it's pretty insane.
Here's 3 names I've been drafting at the end of drafts because their combine numbers look good. I don't know anything about them, but I've been taking Chase Brown,
he's a good
Evan Knoll, and I've been taking Deneric Prince. These are all guys who like workhorse like explosive. I don't know how
the issue with those last 2 guys is they profile pretty heavily as like day 3 undrafted free agent types. And
I don't think you're getting the draft capital.
And if that happens, I'm no longer drafting them.
Yeah, which is Dameon Pierce was the day 3 pick, right? So it like that's the thing with running backs is like if they just walk into a path of destiny that just gets them playing time, they're just going to end up being okay. For all of our talk about weight and size and this guy, it's just like, did he play? Did he play? If he played, pretty good.
Yeah, and there's a ton of guys in that kind of large tier this year. I think Chase Brown is definitely someone worth mentioning because he profiles a lot like Sean Tucker, is sort of like a guy who does everything okay, nothing great, but then he had a strong combine. And I could see him being like a 3rd-round pick now. So if you're trying to play the draft capital game, he's a good one. And his price has risen, but he's still going like much cheaper than, Sean Tucker and stuff. So I think he's pretty appealing in best ball drafts.
Past like Devin Singletary, I've just been playing the roll the dice on the rookie names, and I'm just expecting half, some percent will hit, some percent will fail. So like I'm not always.
Well, I noticed. I did know. I wanted to bring this up before I forgot. I noticed a weird little ADP thing. Jalen Warren is like stone free, and I
draft him a lot.
What's the deal with that? Because Najee stinks, dude, and Jalen Warren like seemed better than him last year.
Well, I think Warren is pure handcuff, where some of those names like.
But Jalen Warren wasn't a pure handcuff last year. Like by the end, he was playing like Samaj P. Ryan level snaps by the end of the year. Like he was playing like 40% of the snaps.
I think he's a great pick
because of Jalen Warren. He was on that team and contributed week 17.
There you go.
Here's 2 other names I've been taking, and I'm expecting that they could get cucked in the draft. But Zamir White and Jerome Ford.
Zamir White is getting cucked in the draft. I don't think.
They don't. They're the RB2s of Josh Jacobs and Nick Chubb.
Yeah, the issue with Ford is I think they're bringing back a minimum of 1 of D'Ernest and Kareem Hunt.
I've heard it's Matt Barry put out a tweet, said he's hearing it's Ford over D'Ernest. D'Ernest is an afterthought.
Well, Ford is better on special teams, so that makes sense. But I think Kareem Hunt is out there in the market right now being like, hey, who wants to give me some money? And no one's returning his phone calls. I don't think anyone's.
Last year. Like, I thought he was done.
That's how it happens.
I like the Ford one a lot more than the White one. But I think Warren is a cut above because he is actually like protected by Harris. right? They're not going to spend draft capital at the running back position because they have Najee Harris, spent a first-round pick on this guy. The fact that he stinks is amazing. Like, he's in kind of the best situation to be in right now with all this uncertainty flying around. Like, the most that the Steelers are going to spend on a running back is like a 4th-round pick, and even that would be a little bit aggressive where they're at.
Like, they got so many holes.
Well,
they were playing Gunnar Luzweski as their slot wide receiver last year, dude.
Yeah, they have other needs.
All right, well, let's move on to wide receiver. Davis had Quentin Johnston, who I think it's fair to say everyone is like, he's got upside. He could land in a Buffalo, in a Kansas City.
That in a weird way, him and Hyatt having bad combines actually made it more likely they see a big boost in year 1 points because they might go to really good teams.
That's how I feel about Addison.
I think Buffalo, like, how's that sorting out between Davis and like? It's not like he's just gonna.
I don't know how to tell you this, Liam, but I think Gabe Davis might not be good. I think we might have to.
Gabe Davis more yards per game than DJ Moore.
I didn't want to be
That's definitely fair, and there's no
except for whatever reason, DJ Moore can still be traded like an absolute premium dynasty asset. If you try and trade away Gabe Davis right now, people are fucking slamming doors in your face. They're out. They do not care.
DJ Moore, who just helped facilitate a trade up for the number 1 overall pick. But yeah, he's probably about as good as.
I don't take him every time because, like, I like Treylon Burks a lot, who, like, I have no questions about and goes right next to him. But if the Bills don't take a wide receiver in round 1 or 2,
Gabe Davis is going to do the same shit he did this last year, where he's got like 3 insane spike weeks and is useless.
Exactly what we want in best ball. You just need those weeks to fall.
A little expensive for that, but
I don't
mind Gabe Davis where he's at, honestly.
Why did they cut McKenzie?
Because they signed Deontay Hardy, who is McKenzie but a deep threat
and a kick returner. So I don't know if he's playing ahead of Nyheim Hines as the kick returner, but if he is, he's active on game days.
He's got like 5 fumbles on kick return, so I think Hines is.
He's got. I read that he's got 5 career fumbles on 79 touches.
But they're all on like kick returns. None of them are on.
Why didn't they trade for Raheed Shaheed? He seems good.
Well, I think Hardy actually is a very exciting pick for best ball. Like,
I'm shocked.
Honestly, I'm in, man. I've been taking him 20th round.
4.35 speed, and he's with Josh Allen, the best. That got the biggest arm in the NFL. I still take Shakir a lot, though, who I think is a clear 3. But I'm fully expecting one of these wide receivers. Like, the Bills are either going to go O-line in the first 2 rounds, or they're going to take a wideout in one of these 2.
Haven't you? Or do we? I mean, we're really getting into it now. Isn't the rumor or not even a rumor? Rap Sheet put his name on this that DeAndre Hopkins will agree to renegotiate his contract if a team trades for him. Doesn't that make it much more likely he goes to a good team now? Whereas before it was like, okay, the Falcons can trade for him,
or the Patriots. Like,
but now the Chiefs, the Bills, the Eagles, whoever can all trade for him now.
Are we worried that Hopkins is? I mean, like, we saw Hopkins light it up when Kyler was healthy, and then we saw him suck when Kyler was down.
I was worried that he might be toast going into drafts last year. Like, I didn't take him a ton, but after watching him come back at age 31 and basically just be, I'm like, he also doesn't it sort of feel like he's the type of guy who could probably produce till he's like 35.
No, he's the guy who's going to be AJ Green sooner or later.
No, but AJ Green was a perimeter guy. AJ Green had to win one-on-one. Hopkins is all within like 8 yards of the line of scrimmage.
The Cardinals did such weird shit where they like run him on one side of the field.
Well, let's not get into the Cliff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, let's not use Cliff's usage as what he should be doing.
I don't need to. Who's the Antoine Wesley? I don't need to be thinking about Antoine Wesley playing over like Rondale Moore ever again. Like, just horrible.
I still think it's just as likely to get traded to a bad team, but maybe
no, because
I don't think so, man.
No
it's
chance
good
on
team,
that.
Good team only.
You don't put it out there. You don't let your agent put it out there that you'll agree to make less money if you want to go make less money for a bad team. Like,
are the Cowboys like dumb then trading for Brandon Cooks over Hopkins? Yes.
Yeah.
Did you just ask if the Cowboys are dumb?
Well, because I mean, Hopkins is going to be comparable in price.
Well,
right?
let me take you into the torture chamber that is the Dallas Cowboys, because what's happening is this. I guarantee you this is the conversation that's happening every single day in the Dallas Cowboys front office. Jerry comes in, he talks to his son and the other front office people, and they're going, all right, we let Dalton Schultz go. We did bring in Brandon Cooks, but, Gallup wasn't as good as we thought. We let Noah Brown go. We do need another weapon, so we need to think about, okay, who are we adding, who are we trading for? And then at the end of every conversation, Jerry just looks them all in the face and goes, I feel like we keep coming back to this Odell Beckham thing. And then everyone else tries to distract him from the fact that Odell Beckham is out there. And Jerry's like, yeah, but, Odell, Odell's still out there, right? I talked to Odell's mom on the phone. And then Steven has to be like, no, we're not doing this. We're not giving Odell $20 million. And then Jerry's like, but maybe. That's what's going to happen.
Well, Odell is still rumored to be a Bill target. Like,
no, dude, this guy is signing with the Dallas Cowboys. It's Jerry's like bound and determined.
That's exciting. All right, let's get to your rookie ranks. I think, Davis, do you have Jackson Smith as your one now?
Yes, but I think this wide receiver class is mid. So is where
he's the one guy who he ran that really exciting 3-cone. He could be, I don't know. He could be good.
CeeDee Lamb. He could be CeeDee Lamb.
I disagree with this, but I'm a noted I can't be objective when it comes to CeeDee.
He's a little less flashy. He's not going to be quite as fun as CeeDee, but I think that kind of role.
CeeDee's like 20 pounds bigger than him also.
No, he isn't.
Isn't he? CeeDee's like what, 205?
Jackson Smith and Jigba's 196, and I'm pretty sure
CeeDee Lamb. All right.
This is the thing with Jackson Smith and Jigba. It's because it's like he's a slot guy, so everyone assumes he's like 182. He's a little bigger. Yeah, he's 196. He's 6 feet.
He can play on the outside. He
can play on the outside, I think. I mean, look, he hasn't really in college, but
he can.
This thing of he's just a slot. He's just a slot. Well, he's got the size to play on the outside.
I didn't listen to your legendary upside.
Well, I was about to say I listened to legendary upside premium pod.
So don't give away the whole thing, but I'm just curious the Kerrane take on Smith and Jigba sophomore season, in which a huge chunk of his production came with one or both of Olave and Wilson.
So I actually, this isn't true. I went back and looked it up. I looked all.
It's not 100% true, but it's that the 350-yard 3-touchdown game came with them both out.
It's that one game came without both of them on the field. Now I went back. I found an Athletic article. Bill Landis wrote, I thought he would struggle without those guys on the field because coming into the game, I thought essentially he was a product of having only played with those guys. So the narrative going into the game is he's only getting open because everyone else is drawing attention. Then they're gone. He blows up for an insane game. And now it's, he only produced because he didn't play with them. I like this. It feels like we're bending over backwards to explain away this guy's production. He was super productive.
I'm bending it away because I'm so fucking mad he didn't play it all this last year. That just honestly, it just makes me mad that he didn't play. It really
get over it, man. he's gonna be good.
Okay. Theoretically, let's just. I just want to do a thought experiment with you.
Yeah.
Let's say he doesn't get hurt at all, doesn't have the hamstring injury at all this year, and he legitimately gets cucked by 19-year-old Marvin Harrison Jr. Like obviously still good, but has a Denzel Mims, who's the 49ers guy, Jalen Hurd, where Jalen Hurd outproduced him when he transferred. We're Mims, Mims still had the good senior season, but it wasn't outstanding. What is our take on JSN if that happens?
Our take is probably less excited, but same thing happened to Justin Jefferson, right? And we also saw the same thing happen to Chris Olave. And both of those guys, to varying degrees, look like very strong NFL players / gigantic superstar in Jefferson's case. So, Harrison is, from what I understand, going to be a really high-end prospect himself. So while that's definitely something
he might be the first overall pick.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that would probably make us more nervous, but it again, that would probably be also the type of thing where I'd be saying let's not overreact to that.
And to be fair to Smith and Jigba, Jameson Williams saw that wide receiver room and said, "I'm out. I'm going to Alabama."
Yes.
And Smith and was the 12th overall pick, and Smith and Jigba smashed.
Smashed.
So
yeah.
I'm not trying to. I just find him to be since I've started doing this, one of the most hard to nail down prospects. Partly because these,
if he lands with the Bears, I'm out.
Well, he's not going to the Bears.
Why not? The Bears traded down. They could totally take him at 9.
There's still time for them to sign McCole Hardman.
Real quick, guys.
Do that, right?
LegendaryUpside.com. That's Pat's new site he launched. Check that out. And I was listening to the premium pod for subscribers only. And I believe, Pat, not to give away everything, but I believe you said Addison is more of a target for you than Quentin Johnston, who I know some people are notably down on Addison after his combine. So talk us through, is Addison your 2 in the class?
He is now. The guy that I've had trouble nailing down is Quentin Johnston, because just from the sort of pure, kind of the most simple kind of production based elements, okay, he's a 3-year guy. He broke out. He's going to get drafted probably in the first round. He profiles as someone that we want to have a ton of exposure to. He's got these incredible jumps. He's got size. He's not huge, but he's over 200 pounds. And he's pretty tall. So it's a pretty exciting prospect. But the more I dig into him, the more nervous I get, because he had a really high rate of contested targets on his deep targets. A really high percentage of those were contested.
The N'Keal Harry corollary.
Yeah, it's the Denzel Mims worry. It's the J.J. Arthur worry. It's the Terrace Marshall worry. No. You see when I've been looking at that this offseason, and that's who comes up when you look at really high percentage of your deep targets are contested. It's those names. And now you also do see T. Higgins, but T. Higgins had a really strong contested catch rate.
But also, if T. Higgins wasn't with Burrow, maybe we're not into him in fantasy.
Fair enough. And he also hasn't gotten a lot of separation according to ESPN's Open Score, even as a pro. It's just that he's awesome at the catch point. He was in college. He is in the pros. Quentin Johnston has struggled with contested catches. That's not really his game, even though he's got the jumping ability. So, my God, is he – I'm starting to worry maybe he's like Devontae Parker or something like that. He's not going to get a ton of separation. He could be with the exact right quarterback.
Well, that's the bad vibe. So the bad vibe is that he turns into, because he does look and play like some of these legendary busts, right?
Yeah.
But then you have to think about, okay, why were NFL teams so incentivized to take some of these legendary busts in the first round? And it's because guys of his archetype are irreplaceable when they're good. When a guy can consistently either get open in one-on-one coverage or turn one-on-one coverage into an advantage for the offense, that's huge.
Yeah. And what does he do good? Because I thought
he did win downfield. He won downfield.
He didn't run, so he's got to be slow, right?
Well, that's the concern. He didn't do the agility drills, and he didn't run the 40. He's a downfield threat. That's who he is, but he didn't really – it seems like maybe he didn't get much separation in college, and he also didn't run. So it's is that downfield skill set going to translate? I do agree with Davis. If it does, there's a clear role for him in the NFL. It's not it's a range of outcomes thing, and our brains are so bad at probability. It's got to either be I like Quentin Johnston or I don't like Quentin Johnston. I like his archetype of player in fantasy. I would always rather have AJ Brown than Keenan Allen, right? 110 times out of 10. Yeah. But AJ Brown style prospects bust at a 10-1 clip over slot first type guys, because you're Jackson Smith and Jigba, I don't even think can bust. I think he's going to be Kerrane, what did we say the other day?
He could be a 3 touchdown a year guy.
I think we said Nelson Aguilar is the worst that Smith and Jigba could be.
That's
a guy who's
I honestly think it's Golden Tate is his legit worst case outcome.
Whereas Quentin Johnston could be blocking in the XFL in his next contract. That's in the range. But Johnston could also score 15 touchdowns in a season. That's also in his range. And I prefer to embrace variance with guys like that.
And he's only an 8th round pick right now. And there's not that many exciting names around him.
So I think Johnston is a buy in best ball. but probably not going to be someone I have a ton of in Dynasty. So I think in Dynasty, actually, I think Dynasty is more of a floor game than people realize, because the fact, what you said about JSN, oh, he's probably not going to bust, but, I don't know about his ceiling. Well, you're going to have a year from now, you're going to be able to analyze this situation with a lot more information. And the fact that he's put a good rookie season, most likely, maybe not a great rookie season, but a solid rookie season on tape, is going to have people feeling like, well, I'm not going to be just like holding the bag on this guy, so I'm willing to trade for him. If Johnston really struggles as a rookie, it could like immediately be, oh God, he's a bust, because this is a boom bust prospect who looks like he's a bust. So
it looks
I actually
like
think
he can't lose this year. Like either he goes in as long as he goes in the first round, either he's going late to a good team, or he's going early and then we're in because of draft capital.
Johnston,
yeah,
but Johnston could just be not good. That's the issue with him. So I want more exposure in best ball, where he's actually like pretty cheap for a first round rookie wide receiver. You get him like in the 8th, 9th round range, depending on the site, and he does have a lot of upside, and he's a deep threat with size who can score touchdowns. So I like him more in best ball right now.
How about do we have a clear 3, 4, 5? Like I've heard Hyatt had a terrible combine, like a speedster who's not that fast.
He didn't have a terrible combine, but if you're a speed only guy, you kind of got to run a 4.3. Is sort of been my thing. Like I think he's still probably going to be a first round pick, but I'm less bullish on him now. And what is Downs' weight, Pat? Like, what did we say? Like 175 pounds or something? Like he's a baby.
Yeah, I think like 171 or something. Crazy.
Whereas now I'm more bullish on Flowers, because I don't care as much about him being a 4th year guy, because I was like, well, okay, you're one of the guys who showed up to the combine and actually did your fucking job, Like
it shows that he works hard, at least.
Yeah.
Flowers is my 4 now too. And at 4-year guy, not like he's really short. He's like 5'9". I'm not like in love with him as a prospect, but yeah, I agree. I mean, I think like he's probably going to be solid, and it seems like he's more likely to go in the first round now than he was pre-combine. So you could see him, if he goes at like
100%,
pick 20 or something, he's probably going to get a lot of targets.
What if the Patriots take him?
Do we want to move on?
They totally would.
Or do you guys have any closing thoughts on any of these fringe? What about Bryce Ford Wheaton? He's a guy I've been drafting a lot.
Marvin Mims is my guy now. Where I think
comps to DK Metcalf athletically only.
Isn't he like 24 though?
And he's got much smaller hands is the issue. So like that means you probably drop more balls. But like he actually weighs 220. He's got the vertical. He's got the 40.
That's a dude I'm taking with like 4th round rookie picks, not a guy I'm taking in best ball, really.
Draft capital matters a ton at wide receiver.
He could totally Tyquan Thornton it though.
His best comp on Player Profiler is Kevin White.
Oh no. Kevin White played last year for the Saints. We saw
it's not really Kevin White. Kevin White suffered 2 catastrophic lower body injuries like immediately upon getting in the NFL. It's not really his fault.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not, but also like, what was he top 10 pick? So he should not be comped to Bryce Ford Wheaton.
I think he was the 8th pick, maybe.
Yeah, that's
maybe that's kind of an upside case for Bryce Ford. Maybe is that good for Bryce Ford or really bad for Kevin White?
That's not a good comp.
No,
he's going to be a day 3 pick.
Do you even remember Kevin White, bro?
Davis, I think I'm older than you.
No, I think we actually determined this. I think we're literally the same age.
Okay. How about tight ends? Michael Mayer, I thought, had a bit of a disappointing combine from what he's just like a do everything guy, but like 4.65, 40. Like the RAS numbers for this class looks great, is what I've seen. Like
yeah, Kerrane and I are we have a big argument on the tight ends.
What's our argument?
I am not taking Darnell Washington in best ball. Just no, like
we both have him ranked 4th here.
This was. I mean, I think this is right, but I would rather take this. Well, these were my dynasty rankings. These are my. Okay. But the thing I think is,
I deliberately said best ball many times.
Yeah, I don't care. So here's the thing. Here's the thing I'm worried about. Why would a team take him and not just immediately make him Chris Manhertz? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he's probably Jelani Woods is what I'm looking at. And it's like, can you get...
Jelani Woods gave you a spike week.
I've been taking a lot of Woods in best ball so far.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I also think he could be like Mo Alley Cox, and it's like in the 20th round or 19th round, you're just hoping for some touchdowns. He's so big.
He could go to the Bengals in round 1, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so incredibly unsexy, but I completely believe like the Tyler Conklins of the world are better best ball picks than Darnell Washington. It's the very opposite of my brand. But in Dynasty, I feel the exact opposite. I want these guys in Dynasty. I want Musgrave. I want Kincaid. I want Washington. I want Laporta. I want all these dudes. Like I want to be spending a lot of third-round rookie picks on tight ends this year.
This is the class to spend a bunch of third-round rookie picks on tight ends. We're terrible at predicting which guys are going to
just take
be
like
the ones who break
5
out.
of them.
Just take 5 of them because all these guys have profiles that make them like very interesting flyers. Like, and I am taking these guys in the 20th round of my drafts. I do like mixing in Washington, Musgrave, Laporta. Kincaid's a little more expensive, so I don't take him quite as much. But
after Jelani Woods, those are the only names left. It's like Darnell Washington and these guys, and it's like, okay, I'm forced to roll the dice here.
Yeah, unless the Cowboys do just truly roll into the 2023 NFL season with Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot.
I don't think that's it. Like the Cowboys could be the Darnell Washington landing spot.
Well, but the other thing I was going to say is 2 good offenses, the Bengals and the Cowboys, both have gaping holes at tight end. So that's like a pretty big out in these pre-NFL draft ones where like you got to feel pretty good about. I mean, they're for sure each going to add a tight end.
And I can totally see the Bills and Chiefs. And like, I feel like a bunch of teams in the 3rd and 4th rounds are going to be taking these tight ends.
No, the Chiefs feel really good about their tight end room, dude.
I think they take like a Travis Kelce.
How did you find a way to tout Noah Gray on this pod? That is incredible.
Muted, removed.
They like him, bro. It's true. They like Noah Gray.
That is unbelievable, man.
We're not done with the playoff drafts. He's got to get that Noah Gray in.
They also, by the way, they tendered Jody Fortson. They gave him more money than they needed to.
All right. Well, let's move on to free agency. Let's talk about we saw two, I mean, kind of exciting 2 names I was taking a lot in best ball just because they were cheap and they've not been signed, Singletary and Damian Harris. Singletary is now a Texan, which I don't think that's like a wheels up landing spot, but we're going to expect the Texans to score more touchdowns this year probably. And Dameon Pierce is not the biggest competition in the world. It's probably good for Pierce too, where now you're competing with Singletary and not.
I was going to say I've gone back and forth on this. I was just talking about this with Leone because him and I just did a dynasty trade where I got Pierce from him, and he was like, "Dude, who did you want them to sign? You wanted it to be Mark Ingram and James Robinson versus Dameon Pierce. Like, what did you?" And I like in that context, Singletary's kind of good because he's a reliable veteran, but he's never going to play so well that. Like, oh shit, we can't have Pierce on the field because Singletary's really cooking. That's not happening.
And he's like literally like the least athletic dude in the NFL. Singletary, like 4'6", 740.
Shows too.
And like I saw, as someone who watches the Bills games, infinite times where he breaks it for 10, and it's like, wow, if he was fast, he would score, tackled at 2 more yards. Whereas Damian Harris, I think, got one of the nut landing spots for him. I never made sense why he was so cheap. Josh Allen's still going to vulture touchdowns, but like the wheels upside for Damian Harris is, I don't know, 10 touchdowns or something like that in the Bills offense.
Yeah, I was mad I didn't have more Damian Harris before that. It was like one of those picks where I thought I did because I was like, why is Damian Harris? It really struck me as odd that Damian Harris didn't have more interest from NFL teams. So I think Damian Harris is pretty good. But then I went back and checked, and I really hadn't drafted a ton of him in best ball. So kind of disappointed with myself on that one. But I think he was a very strong pick.
Singletary's Raz, shout out Kentley Platt. And I mean, it's not like Damian Harris is a burner, but 4.57 at 216 pounds is a hell of a lot more impressive than at 203 pounds. Like, this is a guy who Davis would comp to himself.
Harris has had some breakaway ability as a pro as well. And
Damien Harris is a perfectly cromulent NFL running back.
Cromulent? Word of the day. What's that mean?
Yeah, hit us with that definition.
Do you guys not watch The Simpsons?
I mean, I did. I actually watched a lot of The Simpsons as a kid.
It's like a bit. It's a word that originated in The Simpsons and they got added to the Oxford English Dictionary. It's like a whole thing. Mrs. Hoover
cromulent
says
or promulent?
Yeah, cromulent. Mrs. Hoover
acceptable
says
or adequate. Good job.
Perfectly
cromulent
running back.
So Brandon Cooks on the Cowboys. Probably the best spot he could land in or be traded to, right?
Oh, the Buffalo Bills would have been a good spot for him.
Would have been a good spot, but whatever. Like, Cowboys is a 90th percentile landing spot.
No, it's
Chiefs,
much better.
Chiefs would have been the best spot.
No, we don't need him. We got MVS.
Why did the Chiefs not trade for him if that's all it costs, by the way? The money? Can they not afford the money?
Maybe
He's
he
only
wanted
29.
They're that's also the thing is they don't like to acquire. Brett Veach hates to acquire guys over the age of 25. They do not do it very often.
That sounds like a smart principle to just not acquire old players.
But I don't know. I think they maybe got their feelers out on Chris Godwin, DeAndre Hopkins. There are bigger fish out there if guys are willing to renegotiate to win a Super Bowl, I think.
Any other free agency landing spots you guys? I mean, James Robinson to the Patriots, this should be investigated for money laundering.
Yeah, can someone make sense of this?
I think he makes more money than Sam Darnold this year.
He's got up to $8 million in incentives.
I think that was over-reported a little bit, when you actually look at the full contract, but still, I guess good news for Ramondre, but Ramondre and Pollard already felt too cheap. It doesn't make sense why they're in the back half there.
Unless the Patriots take Bijan.
Well, they're totally live to do that.
I think this is sort of interesting. Kind of sounds like Eckler is walking back these trade demands because the market is maybe not as juicy as he and his representation thought. There was he puts out his own content, but so he said today he was on a podcast that he would like to stay with the Chargers under the quote right circumstances. That to me sort of feels like hey guys, I'm sorry, I love it here. Let's go win the division.
Well, where could he even have gone? The Bengals, maybe.
The Bengals. That's
the
it.
Bengals. Yeah.
And the Bengals could totally be in on Bijan. The Eagles could get Bijan.
No, the Bengals are probably the most fucked team in the NFL from a money perspective. I don't know the name of their GM, but I do not. I would not want to be in his office, man. Because
what do you need? You got Jamar Chase, you got Joe Burrow, you got O-line.
He's about to have to give 60% of the team's salary cap to 3 players. At the same time, the same offseason, he's got to pay Burrow, Chase, and T. It's like he honestly is getting punished for being so good at his job. It's like the universe is like, you built yourself a championship caliber team. Good luck paying for it, asshole.
I don't know. I think that's overblown. The Saints for
It's
years.
not. That's what's happening.
It's not.
Well, okay. Let the other guys go and just let Burrow and Chase and
T. You could trade Higgins, I guess, but they don't want to trade Higgins, and
you get rid of T if you're really up against the cap, and you just say it's the Chase and Burrow show.
But you cannot get rid of T. You cannot let T walk.
No,
you got to get a pick for him.
And the Giants are like, hell yeah.
But the problem is they spent all offseason telling people keep your hands off, and so people built their teams like he wouldn't be. That's what I'm saying, dude. Liam, what I'm telling you is maybe they'll figure a way out of it, but I do not envy this guy's job. This guy's job sucks right now.
Yeah. But and
he has Joe Burrow and 2 amazing receivers, and somehow he's screwed.
Really, if you think about it, it's Justin Jefferson's fault, and
no, it's Christian Kirk's fault for getting the wide receiver money up.
No, I think it was more the mega deals that all got given out last, Hollywood. How much is Marquise Brown making? $30 million a year, something crazy.
Is he really?
I don't know. To me,
he's got a huge deal.
No defender in the NFL is really worth it. They get hurt more. They're not stopping elite offenses anyways. So make it work with the 3 guys and invest in O-line and then People will
Hollywood's okay. He's not making that much. I'm wrong.
Well, honestly, I don't even see why teams are investing in receivers in the first place because they ought to just be playing rugby out there. That's how you win the NFL.
They got it. Yeah, I thought so.
Thank you for bringing this up, Kerrane.
So the move is you just draft 4 tight ends and you just have them all out there running rugby
and this
plays
is the class to do it, Davis. There's a bunch of these tight ends.
We know that Roger would not allow that. That would be bad. If we learned anything from the Eagles rugby play, the mall, if you would, it's that they won't allow this to stand because it's bad for the viewing product and it's too OP.
I think if one team successfully did one rugby play, it would be like the most popular SportsCenter clip of the month.
Well, whatever the Patriots did set us back decades at the end of that Raiders game. When
it set Jacoby Myers back too.
Yeah, that was.
Oh man, Jacoby Myers. Is he like what is the point of that contract?
See, the thing about him is like he's priced similarly to Waller, but he's at wide receiver, and it's like let's just assume he has Waller's production, like he's the 2. But doesn't he cannibalize Hunter Renfrow? Like what's going on there?
No, I think Renfro's better than him.
Well, I mean, I don't really feel that way, but they're not far off. Hunter Renfro's good at what he does.
Yeah, he's a touchdown guy. What do we think, guys?
Deal, so they're not going to get rid of him.
I mean, it seems like Lamar is not going to be on the Ravens, and I feel like maybe that's not talked about enough. Like, what is the Ravens' plan if Lamar bails?
My take on that is I think the Ravens are smart what they're doing, where no other team really wants to do the legwork for you for the contract-wise. And I think NFL owners do not want players to start self-representing and having their family members be paid because they like the relationships they have with these agents, whereas it's not that hard to self-represent yourself, copy and paste a contract from Pat Mahomes, be like, I want this, add $1 million, whatever. I could do that, and if you're a player, you're like, yeah, I want my mom paid 10%, not random agent. But I think NFL owners do not want that at all because I'm sure agents feed them info all the time.
I don't think the owners care about the agents. I think they care about the guaranteed money.
Yeah.
So you guys think Lamar's not going to be a Raven? I think he's going to be a Raven.
I think he probably.
I don't think he's playing for anybody else this year.
He could sit. He could definitely sit.
That would be insane. That would legitimately be insane for Lamar to sit out a year of his prime. But
where is he going?
I don't think you're wrong.
Where is he going if he's not on the Ravens? Where is he?
The Colts are the team that makes the most sense.
But they're not giving up the 4th overall pick.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Can you do it post NFL draft?
Yeah, I think you can. But if you're the Colts, that means you have to pass on Anthony Richardson.
Jesus,
with the hope that you'll hammer out a deal with Lamar. So I guess you'd have to have a deal in place with Lamar, pass on Richardson the day the draft ends, sign Lamar to it, hope the Ravens don't match it, and then deal your next 2 first-round picks. I mean, it seems very risky. I don't see how that could be a plan.
I mean,
that's not
crazier things have happened. Haven't you seen Ocean's 11?
Great movie.
I mean, that's a good point.
What if there is just like this conspiracy? What if Lamar gets involved with a conspiracy to he's like, you know what? I hate the Ravens. Let's just absolutely crush them.
Well, they finally got Greg Roman out of there, who he has exotic running offense.
Except everyone gets sick of Greg Roman's shit after 18 months. Every job he's ever had.
I wish it was 18 months. It took forever with the Ravens. He was there for 3 years.
Let's talk real quick, a segue. Something I've been noticing is there's some future dynasties being built here in the current NFL. And I'll throw out some franchises. You guys add any. I would say the Lions count as part of that. I would say the Bears count as part of that.
No.
I would say
Are you being earnest right now?
Yeah, what are you saying?
What I'm saying is these are
the
exciting.
Bears just got the number 1 pick. They're a dynasty now.
What I'm saying is the Bears just got a bunch of if they hit on their picks in the draft, these could be dynasties.
They might be like 8th favorite to win the Super Bowl in the futures market.
Well, I mean,
no, there's a dynasty in the NFL. There's one, and there are
not a dynasty.
just some die.
What are you talking about?
These people are not
the Bears and the
No, what I'm saying
the Bears
is
and the Lions are a dynasty.
The Lions. Let me explain. First off, let me find the mute button. Let me find the mute button on these two. You look at the Lions, and they got O-line check. They got wide receiver check. They signed a bunch of defenders in free agency because they got the cap space. So if I think the Lions should definitely draft a quarterback, like make that happen, whether he sits behind Goff, whatever.
If that quarterback away from a dynasty.
Just a quarterback away.
I mean,
they're
they
just
are
a quarterback away from a dynasty.
Jeez, man, this is rough. This is rough.
Liam, you got to workshop these takes on Twitter first or something. This is too much for a live show.
I thought you guys would be in on me being excited with.
I'm very excited about the Lions.
Yeah, me too.
less excited about the Bears.
Potential dynasties, right?
You know how hard it is?
Know,
I mean, the thing
Let's
is...
make the playoffs first, huh?
Yeah.
Would you rather be the Lions or the Bears today?
The Lions.
I'd rather be the Lions.
I'd rather be the Lions too, but that's kind of funny because they're the one without the quarterback, we think.
I'm Justin Fields' slight agnostic, to be honest. Not for fantasy, but for winning games. Because I don't think running quarterbacks can win, but because he gets sacked on 13% of his dropbacks.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to think they're improving, right? They got better wideouts. They got the jury's out on Fields as being a top quarterback, but he's also in the NFC, which just is losing Rodgers as well. Brady's out of there.
So Jordan Love will probably be better than Rodgers this year.
Well, that's the NFC is a joke,
No, the NFC is a joke, but that doesn't make it more likely for you.
Is Dak Prescott the best quarterback in the NFC?
No, Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback.
After Jalen
Hurts. Yeah.
But what would any of these teams be against the Chiefs, Bills, or the Bengals in the Super Bowl? Like 6.5-point dogs, probably, maybe more.
Sure, you got to deal with Burrow, Allen, and Mahomes. And maybe even Herbert, who I think Herbert had a really disappointing year, but I think it's kind of silly we're drafting Trevor Lawrence over him.
Yeah, I mean, they're just 8 great picks away from a dynasty.
They're just potential dynasties building at the bottom of the NFC North. It's really incredible stuff, Liam.
You see the Bears blueprint is the Eagles of today, right? Where you have a bunch of picks at the top, and the Jets. The Jets with the
Jets aren't even going to make the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers.
A bunch, but they have a young core in place.
I would say if you offered me 2 paths, you get the great quarterback and you try to build a roster around him, or you get a good roster and you try to hit on the good quarterback, I would much prefer give me the really good quarterback and let me try and fill the roster out.
Sure. I'm excited for the Bills' future too, but the point is the NFL teams on the bottom, a lot of them are the Bears and the Lions are nothing like the Texans to me, who need everything.
Sure.
They got, right? They actually could take a lead.
But if Bryce Young is that guy, 6 months from now we'll say, "Oh my God, the Texans, potential dynasty building." It's simple. It really is that simple. The NFL is truly that simple. Where if
there's a level
of PSD with the word dynasty from now on.
There's a level of quarterback where that's true, but I think there's a level of quarterback where if you do build the team and then you put that quarterback in, you can develop that quarterback on the go, and that's what we saw with Jalen Hurts. And I tend to think that those types of quarterbacks, like the Jalen Hurts types, are not destined to become what Jalen Hurts has become. You can screw that up, and I think Fields is in that mold. So I kind of worry about just how bad the offensive line is. I think what he did last year is very impressive, given that the team clearly was not sold on him as the long-term answer. So hopefully now that they are, they'll be able to build around him and develop him. But Yeah, I do think there's something to the Lions mold where like you can plug in a quarterback who, has a wider range of outcomes. And it's not just that we don't know whether or not he's good. It's that like he needs to become better over time. And it's an environment where you can actually do that with a really good offensive line and good weapons and good coaching.
The Lions need to get one of these quarterbacks, I feel. Like if they can trade up with the Cardinals.
I kind of think they won't.
Yeah, I think they won't.
I kind of think they're going to ride with Goff for one more year and see what comes next year.
But that's like, you can't have, first off, every free agent wants to play for Dan Campbell, right? Like we're seeing that a little bit.
I bet that's not true across the board. I bet there are some thinking man type guys who are like, you know what, that might seem a bit much for me.
I think Campbell's like a sneaky thinking man in that he's.
I'm no shade
person.
Sneaky man,
no shade intended. Dan Campbell seems awesome.
Thinking man who can talk to the meathead as well. Like he can relate to the meathead, do some chest bumps, and also talk some X's and O's. Yeah. But the plan cannot be let's have this super team in place potentially with elite line,
doing it again,
catchers, and then be like, all right, if it's not Goff, we'll figure it out with Carson Wentz.
Super team. Their defense is atrocious.
It's
atrocious. They won 8 games.
Their secondary is brand new. I think the Lions are exciting, man.
Liam, let me know when you start drafting playoff basketball teams next year because I want to get in on what your idea. Like, I want in when you start drafting playoff basketball in Week 12 and you're taking Fields, DJ Moore stacks on everyone.
Are you kidding me? I've been like the leader of the market of being like, let's pump the brake on pass catchers of Lamar, pass catchers of Fields compared to.
I'm just giving you a hard time because you're literally sounding like an insane person right now. The Detroit Lions were like
Thank you, my one Twitch viewer, Cosmic Osmo.
That's
not my burner, guys.
The Lions are exciting.
They are exciting.
Agree. They are exciting.
I agree.
I don't know. I just think in a couple years they're going to be in. I mean, but the thing is, Burrow's young, Mahomes is young, Allen's young. These guys aren't going away for a decade plus.
The thing is if I was involved in any capacity with an AFC team, I'd be like, how do I get to the NFC for my next 4-year contract? Because it just sounds like being in the meat grinder of having to play the Chargers in a home playoff game every year. Just sounds. And imagine, by the way, if in the middle of all this shit, if it turns out Nathaniel Hackett was actually the worst coach of all time, and all of a sudden there's actually a competitive team in Denver like that no one is considering that. No one is putting that into play.
Let's talk about Russ real quick because are you guys on the rebound train? I'm really not at his cost in best ball.
I think I am. I am
shocked if it happens, but like I'm not like, all right, let's get Judy. Let's get like to me, it's a very bad bet to take Russ in the 10th versus Richardson in the 14th.
Well, I don't think it's more like the 12th versus the 12th right now, I think. Isn't it?
I don't know about that. I'll pull up a recent draft board and share it.
Wilson's got an ADP of 120, Richardson 147. So
here's the thing. Haven't we just seen in the last couple of years in the NFL how important coaching is and how big of an impact it has on all this stuff?
Just for our visually minded people.
We have seen that, and Hackett's definitely not a good head coach, but I do worry that what Peyton is going to try to do to fix Russ is just run the ball a ton.
Yeah, and like I'm real excited about Kerrane for best ball. Like I think that's a great landing spot for him for like giving us usable weeks. And there's a potential that Javonte does not return. So Kerrane could literally be a starter.
Yeah, I just don't really buy the talent on Kerrane. And I think there's so many guys in this draft class.
Single game Big 12 rushing yardage leader.
Well, he's also every time he's seen the field, he's produced without Mixon. We've seen literally 30-point games from him.
Yeah, I mean,
mostly as like a little dump off type of.
Yeah, he's like fine. Like no one thinks Samaj Pirine is Breece Hall. Like it's more about him being fine.
Or even Rashad Penny. Like it's not like he's flashed.
No, I would compare him. I would compare him to Mark Ingram in games that Alvin Kamara misses. That's my comp.
But is that going to happen with Russ?
40% of what Perine is.
Well, it might if Sean Payton is the one figuring out the offense, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
And how proud is Russell Wilson? Is Russell Wilson so proud that he's not going to work? Like he's not going to change the way he plays. It's not going to do this. Or is he going to be so embarrassed by how shit he was last year that he's like, all right, I'm willing to change.
He's going to listen to Sean. He's going to listen to Sean. Sean's going to have a good plan.
Russ doesn't seem like someone who gets embarrassed easily, and he was using the audibles from last year's Seahawks team in Denver.
Unlimited.
So I would be careful about how much weight you're putting on those two things.
That's what happened at the end in Seattle. Is he was like, I'm not fucking running. I don't want to do this. I don't want to listen to you, Pete Carroll. I don't want to run your offense. I want to go do my own thing.
Apparently, he tried to get both those guys fired, Snyder and Carroll.
So, in other words, you could tell me a lot of different stories about how it plays out in Denver, but a lot of it comes down to Russell Wilson using the abilities he has and maximizing what he can do and trying to avoid the stuff he can't do.
I've mixed in Wilson. I think you have to have some, but you know what? The guys I have trouble drafting are actually probably Judy. I have trouble drafting Judy where he's going, and
would you rather have Russ or Rodgers?
Rodgers.
Yeah, for sure. Unquestionably, right? And I mean, I guess Rodgers is now getting more expensive. He used to be the same price. Would you rather have Russ or, a round before is Kirk Cousins?
Kirk. I guess Kirk.
Would you rather have
stacking him anyway?
Trey Lance or Russ? Trey Lance for me.
Russ is starting in week 17.
Well, that's the thing is Trey Lance. I
can't believe Trey. It took just like a couple bad injuries and some bad luck, and Kerrane's off the Trey Lance train.
Year 3, dude. Some people are off. I'm not off.
You're giving up. You're giving up before the miracle happens.
I mean, Brock Purdy apparently is going to be throwing by like the end of training.
I don't buy it. I do not buy this.
Brock Purdy is Jimmy G. Who kept Trey Lance off the field?
He only had Trey Lance off the field because Trey Lance got hurt in a
month. All right, trade me Trey Lance in our dynasty league right now. Then, what's the price?
Make me a legit offer.
Okay, I will straight up send one right now. On
how about some free agency dominoes?
Market-based offer, and I don't want it based on my FUD. I still want market price.
Joe Mixon, where's he going?
The Orlando Guardians.
I mean, I think Zeke is going to be a Jaguar. He makes sense as like a backup.
Oh, please no. Don't have ETN ruined by
Why does that make sense? That makes a lot of sense.
He's a pass blocker. He would be a great
Zeke makes sense for every team because he is good at like a couple specific things that coaches like.
Yeah, he can pick up a couple yards when you need it, and he pass blocks well.
Alvin Kamara, how do we feel about him? What is going on there?
I mean, he's way too expensive still.
Yeah.
And I think it's concerning that you have now 2 touchdown vultures. You have the king himself, Jamal Williams, and now Taysom Hill. Like, are they vulturing each other? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, I think, Kerrane, we talked about that the other day, didn't we?
Well, I have actually taken Williams and Hill on the same team, and I just was like, I'm getting all the touchdowns. I have all the Saints rushing touchdowns now.
I was ready to be out on Taysom, and you and Hayden kind of talked me back in.
I mean, it's crazy. He has tight end eligibility.
Not be listed as a tight end anymore for Best Ball Mania. I'm hoping they might do that, like throw him as a running back.
I think he probably will be, given that he's already listed that way for the big board.
Jeez, I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, he does not play tight end.
No. How about Alexander Madison? He got a lot of money. Like, kind of a shocking amount.
He's a really premium handcuff.
Deontay Foreman, I think, is way too cheap. I think
That's a very interesting one. Like, what do you like? Because you sort of get the sense that maybe Khalil Herbert is in that category of like guy who produced as a 4th-round rookie, but the coaching staff owes him no allegiance or doesn't care about him at all.
And Foreman showed out. Like, he's been good when he sees the field, at least at 2-down grinder role.
Yes.
Fournette, where's Fournette going? He could be like a Jet backup, like Breece Hall backup.
I thought initially when he got cut, I was like, please don't sign with the Cowboys. Like, please. But now that they're bringing Ronald Jones in, I don't think those two want to be teammates with each other.
Yeah, that's true. Right? They're gonna be like, "What do you think? We're thinking about signing for it." It's literally the Michael Scott, like, "Please, God, no,
Well,
no, God, no."
The thing about Fournette versus Zeke is like Fournette's actually going to still catch passes, whereas Zeke is hopefully just pass blocking and like vulturing, right?
Yeah. What about Kerrane? What about the 207 and Tyquan Thornton for Trey Lance?
You guys are seeing how the sausage is made here.
No, Trey Lance is a 10th round pick in
yes,
best ball.
Okay, there you go.
Trey Lance is going to be crushing it this year under Kyle Shanahan. 207 Tyquan Thornton? Come on. I wouldn't take that for Purdy.
How do you guys feel about Deshaun Watson? Is he cooked at all? Did he just struggle with the cover 3 and he's going to figure it out?
I've taken a fair amount of Brown stuff.
It does feel like it's like a pretty obvious bet. Like, like obviously Deshaun Watson, who's been so good, is going to figure it out. But it would not be the craziest thing in the world if it was just like, guy took 2 years off of football. The game done changed. He used to play all his games in a dome, right? 10 games a year in a dome. Now all his games are played outside in fucking 27 degrees, howling winds, and it just like really changes the baseline of his performance.
Here's what's going to happen if he doesn't have a good year, though. Everyone's getting fired. Everyone in Cleveland's getting fired. So
everybody.
And that everyone's gone too. Like they're just gonna ship out.
So I think they're gonna be working pretty hard this offseason to tweak the offense and make sure that it doesn't look like it did last year. Now, it doesn't guarantee anything, but it does feel like a pretty easy bet at ADP, as gross as it is to be going in on the Browns. But I think Nick Chubb is like very reasonably priced.
Yeah, I like Chubb a lot. I think that like let me share my screen real quick. I think this group of running backs of the Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Henry, Chubb, Pollard, Stevenson, Jacobs, Etienne is like a choose your adventure. And it's not really clear to me why Pollard and Stevenson's on the back end of this versus like
I agree.
Derrick Henry, Chubb. Like Etienne, I for sure like the least, I think, of that group. But I know some people really like Etienne.
I don't think he's a great bet to catch passes, so he's just kind of at the back for me.
And he's got to deal with Calvin Ridley now.
Yeah.
What's the second wide receiver situation for Cleveland? Is it just DPJ full time? They're not bringing anyone else in?
I think they're going to get someone in the draft, but DPJ is a name I click a lot because, I mean, he had a good year. And
Kerrane probably likes David Bell still.
I have drafted David Bell still.
David Bell is like, I'm sorry. You run 4.8 and then you don't see the field.
4.8?
It's not
4.8. How many attempts
joke,
have we had?
but it's not that far off.
Yeah. No, I mean, David Bell's not going to do anything, but it's a 20-round draft, so I take him sometimes.
What about David Montgomery? I am not on the train that he's like a big threat to Swift and he should be drafted over.
All right, good. Because I feel like I've been just sort of beaten down by how much the Lions don't like Swift. And so I'm just like, yeah, they're probably going to give David Montgomery all the touches.
You still roll the dice on Swift's talent. Like Swift actually.
That's the thing is like if Swift, like what's obviously sure Swift could like get hurt and be banged up and Dan Campbell's like, get out of my sight. But also it's like feels about as equally likely that Swift shows up, is in great shape, and is just like way better than David Montgomery breaking off all these. And we just talked about Dan Campbell's like a good coach. Like he's not going to be unreasonable. If Swift is totally crushing, they're not going to be like, all right, David, get in there. 3 yards in a cloud of dust, buddy.
And if it is Goff, that's good because Goff is a dump off king. And it is
good. Yeah,
like now you got Jameson Williams stretching the field, Swift getting a bunch of dump offs, and he can house anything. Like David Montgomery, you're hoping does what Jamal Williams did, like a bunch of 1 yard touchdowns. And I mean, he's a better talent than Jamal Williams, I guess. So like maybe he sees more work. I don't know.
I think you could do kind of like Devin Singletary stuff though, where it's like eventually it's just like, yeah, he's not doing anything great, but we trust him.
Yeah. How do we feel like which of the running backs of old do you feel best about and which do you feel worst about? And let's throw in Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook,
I don't think I've drafted any of these guys once.
Cam Akers maybe in that mix, maybe not. Like he's much younger, I guess. I don't know. Like Aaron Jones is a tough click for me right now. These guys are like 6th round picks right now. I feel it's crazy that Pacheco is so close to them though. Like what? Like
you don't have to take a running back in this range, and I usually don't.
What if I told you Isaiah Pacheco is just going to have? What are they doing at running back? Like, are the Chiefs going to draft a running back in the 2nd round?
Maybe
Please
they get.
No. I can't. Oh God. You know how much money I'm going to lose if Jahmyr Gibbs is like the 48th pick to the Kansas City Chiefs? Like, sickening.
What if Fournette goes to the Chiefs?
My brother-in-law has been texting me various Photoshops of Ezekiel Elliott in Chiefs jerseys every day for like the last 2 weeks since he got cut because he's just trying to will Zeke onto the Chiefs roster just to troll me. Fournette feels more likely. Fournette feels like something they might actually do.
Fournette actually makes some sense. Like they have that pass catching role, which he's filled for the Bucs. He's not as explosive as McKinnon, but like he does rumble.
McKinnon's not returning, right? Like
I don't think so.
I mean, so.
They kept Darrell Williams past his expiration date.
But they did really weird stuff with McKinnon where they used him heavily weeks 15, 16, 17. And then
he had to have gotten hurt, right? I mean, that's got to be.
I guess.
There's really no explanation for
why.
Right.
Like, we don't know much about injuries.
Isaiah Pacheco's highest target game of his rookie season came in the AFC Conference Championship game. I don't. My guess is they didn't draw it up that way. I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's a good guess, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a good guess. How about Tyler Algier? We think they're for sure he's
done. They're so taking Bijan at 8. Like that, I feel like what odds? I don't have. I haven't gone over to Illinois for legal sports betting, so I haven't looked at all these sites. But if I can get an exacta on Falcons to take Bijan or a running back as their first overall pick at like 5-1 or better, or maybe even 3-1 or better, I think I'd take it.
Why is
that's interesting? I mean, he's done. Any running back is done if Bijan goes there. I think he's that level. There's like very few running backs where I wouldn't feel that way.
What about Ramondre? What about the Patriots taking?
Yeah, I think Ramondre's like basically done. I think Ramondre's like a backup running back to Bijan.
Yeah, he's contingent. Well, I don't know. Maybe he's pass blocker if Bijan can't do it in the pros.
Maybe to start. And I really like Ramondre, but I think he's like a worse version of Bijan, which isn't a knock because Bijan's awesome and he does everything. But
he outweighs him by 20 pounds, right? He could maybe at least be goal line.
He does. Yeah, although I don't know. Bijan's 215, I think. So maybe
Falcons
it's not quite
5-1 to take Bijan. Jeez.
There you go.
That's a good bet. That's straight up like that is a good bet.
Is there anything
you guys think Arthur Smith is going to look Bijan Robinson in the eye and say, you know what, we don't want you, pal?
So Bijan just texted out a picture of Philly. Have we seen him text out a picture of Atlanta?
He used his top, which is weird for the Eagles to use the top 30 visit.
That is the play with the minds of the Cowboys that the Eagles are trying to trick the Cowboys into taking Bijan.
That would be so smart.
That's 9th level chess from Howie Roseman.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
And Jerry Jones is like, we can't let the Eagles get him at 30.
I love that idea.
I think something that would be fun is to have you guys back on in a week or two and talk through coordinators and what we think that coordinator wants to do. Because
I don't.
You don't believe in this? All right,
Davis
is out for that.
Kerrane is gonna Hayden would be the one. He knows way more.
Whatever. We'll get someone to do it because, like, to me, I think Arthur Smith. Like, okay, maybe there was the argument that
is he even their coordinator though? Don't the Falcons have another
head coach, coordinators, whatever? Like the combo of the two. But like Arthur Smith always wanted to run the ball, right? Like we should not have been shocked by that Marcus Mariota is your quarterback and Kyle Pitts is not.
We weren't shocked. We were just shocked the level to which they were willing to try. And they weren't even trying to win games. They were just, we're down by 10. I guess the game's over. Let's just run.
That's what the Packers did. The Packers literally did that against the Bills one game with Rodgers. Yeah. They were like, we're running the ball down 20 in the third quarter.
The potential dynasty Bears gave up a game last year. Say it, Ace. The potential dynasty building in Atlanta. They got Kyle Pitts.
Here's the
They
thing.
have maybe
win the Super Bowl. In
They
3
just
years,
need a
you guys will
quarterback,
not give me the
Davis.
credit for it.
As soon as they get that quarterback.
Honestly, I'm surprised you left the Falcons off the list. Like the Falcons roster has a lot of good players. Actually,
I don't feel the same way about them at all. Like they don't have a bunch of who.
It's because they don't have any. It's because their good players are on defense.
Yeah, and that is not how you build good teams.
Fair enough.
Pat, tell the people about Legendary Upside and where they can find your work and what you got coming down the pipe.
Yeah,
potential legendary upside.
It's a new site, but many are calling Legendary Upside a burgeoning dynasty. That's what many are saying. I did ask if someone that asked in the chat here if it's worth it. Well, there's a 30-day trial at Legendary Upside, so go get the 30-day trial, and then it's free for 30 days. So,
Pat, people are asking, which they asked me last year, are you even good at best ball, or did you just win a large field tournament?
Yeah, I mean, can it be both?
I'm totally kidding.
But
those people,
yeah, I Legendary Upside has, as you guys mentioned, a premium podcast feed, so I think that's kind of a fun element that I'm doing where you can listen to all the newsletter posts in addition to reading them. It's $69.90. No, not $69.99. Just $69. Just a flat $69 right now.
$69.69 is the move, dude.
You
got
can
to
donate
$4.22
if you want to be chill.
Maybe the early bird special is $69. I may do a post draft early bird special that's $69.69. So if you want to save the 69 cents, get it now. But yeah, I've got a bunch of stuff up there. I had a post on Nico Collins earlier this week, and I've got a bunch of rookie stuff coming out soon.
I'll listen to the Nico pod too. Davis, what do you want to tell the people?
Take Cast, as always, out once a week, having a pro skateboarder on this week. So I'm excited for that. Should be good. Sports Grid Fantasy Football Podcast, churning those out. ADP Chasing on Fridays with one Mr. Patrick Kerrane. All the good stuff.
For me, all I need you guys to do is climb up on your chairs in your house.
And bet on the Detroit Lions to win the 2023 Super Bowl.
Stack up your chairs. Get a table in the mix. Climb to the highest point you can. And then absolutely smash that subscribe button for me. Do me a favor. Hit the like button on your way out. We'll be back with more streams and such. Have a great day, guys. Peace.